Hi, my name is Stacy Hancock, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the PBC video that I watched called Time for School 3, Part 1. I really enjoyed watching this video and getting a little bit different perspective than what I'm used to. I'm used to the United States. I grew up there and here, and that's kind of what I know because I haven't studied a lot of other cultures. I have taken an anthropology class, which has helped me open up to other cultures a little bit more. But it's nice to get the education aspect of countries. How the video kind of works is they interview 7 different kids from 7 different countries, and they kind of start off maybe when they're in 1st grade or something like that, and they film them throughout their life till about 6 years later or so. So the countries that they go through in the video are Japan, Romania, Brazil, India, Afghanistan, Benin, and Kenya. Now in Part 1, the 4 that they focus on are Afghanistan, Brazil, India, and Japan. And each of those 4 are very, very different. The main thing that I noticed between at least Afghanistan, Brazil, and India was how education is not, it's a push from the country, but within the actual family, it's hard. It's really hard to go to school, whether it's because of they're worried for their safety if they go to school, or they're worried for their safety if they don't go to school, such as in Brazil, Jefferson's mom was really worried for him that he would drop out, and really worried for that because most people that don't have an education there, majority of the people go into gangs or selling drugs, which pretty much she stated you end up in jail or dead. So the first country that I want to talk about is Afghanistan. It's so different than the education that I'm used to. She had to. Her name is Sugafa, I believe is how you pronounce it. She is a girl, and most people, well, particularly the Taliban, don't want girls to get an education in Afghanistan because that, in a way, empowers them more and maybe not overpower the Taliban, but they just don't want women to have power of any sort. So that's really interesting. But she started her education at age 11, and then now the current interview was when she was 16, and the teachers say that she made extraordinary advances in her education. And just from looking at Afghanistan, she, the whole time when walking to school, at school, and walking home from school, she was worried for her safety, that the Taliban could hurt them. She went in a group, of course, but she was still worried, and they actually had security at the school to make sure there wasn't any bombs or anything threatening in people's bags, because they have actually had cases where this one school was poisoned, and so many of the children in that school were put in the hospital, and that was from the Taliban. And it just makes me think of my education, and helps me to really put things in perspective. It was expected to go to school, and with these children, it's a privilege. Well, she feels that it's a privilege, at least. Even though as a nation they do want to increase the children going to school population. So just the gratitude that I have for my education, and really as a little kid I did take it for granted, I'm sure, and even now sometimes I don't think I appreciate it as much as I should. But I'm not worried for my safety as I go to school, or worried for too many threats. I mean, things happen in the United States at different schools, but it wasn't a huge threat. and everybody in my community got an education. So it's interesting to think about the goals of a nation. So such as in India, even though, so in Afghanistan, Sugafa, her parents were really supportive of her getting an education, and she really wanted to be an educator when she grew up. But then in contrast, in India, she, so her name is Neha, I believe is how you pronounce it. She wanted to also get an education. She would actually have to go to night school because during the day most of the students had to work on the farm and help the family out, so night school was the only option, which also sacrifices sleep and it's really hard on your body. But she really wanted to get an education. Then she fell behind because for 4 months there was a really serious drought, so she had to help the family out, so she fell a little bit behind, and everybody, well, a lot of the kids went to day school, and she didn't have that opportunity to go to day school. So she actually dropped out because she was in a 2nd grade level as an older kid. I think she was 11 or 12, so she felt out of place and dropped out. And her mom didn't really mind, because in their culture it's custom to work, be beautiful and be acceptable for your husband. So in a way of regular skills of cleaning and cooking, and are you prepared to be married and become a good wife? And also too, the mother stated that these men who had education, so brothers or father, are just sitting around doing nothing, so they're not doing anything with it. Which I thought is really interesting, because education really does help build opportunities for people and help get people out of poverty, and really use their imagination to find ways to better their surroundings. So it's interesting that the mother didn't really see that education was a benefit, which is sad in a way, but her mindset is you do the chores and you have a happy life by doing the chores and cooking and doing the things that you need to sustain life. A couple other things that really just kind of struck me was in Japan, comparing Japan to the 3 other countries before it, so Afghanistan, Brazil, and India. Japan is a lot different. They said from 1st grade, or even from as they're a baby, they are put in education programs that help them to grow and help them to learn. And the kid in Japan name is Ken, and he hasn't missed a day since 1st grade. He is very diligent in his studies, and his mom even states that, you know, when you're little, your home, your family is your home. But as you get older in your education and in your schooling, his mother was saying that his schooling is his home. So she understands that education is very important, and it's essential to grow and become a good member of society. So with each of these kids, they understand how education kind of opens new doors for them, and how they can just be better thinkers. And it was interesting how a lot of them wanted to be teachers when they grew up. So they see how education has affected their lives, and in a way they want to help other kids succeed as well. So I really enjoyed this video, and it helps me not take my education for take it for disadvantage, take it for granted, because I don't have to fight, don't have to worry about many of the things that they had to worry about to get an education. So thank you very much.